Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive concept, the mechanics of sacrifice, specifically present pain versus future loss. We spend almost our entire lives running away from sacrifice, right? But what if it's actually an unavoidable transaction? We're going to dive right into the psychology of why you will pay a price no matter what you do and how to make absolutely sure you're paying it on your own terms. So there's this single sentence that hits us with a total paradox. It says, sacrifice for what you want before what you want becomes a sacrifice. Just let that sink in for a second. Normally, we think of sacrifice as giving something up, a totally negative experience. But the author here uses this to show us that there are actually two entirely different types of sacrifice, separated by literally nothing but the invisible barrier of time. The first half of that sentence, super empowering. But the second half, well, it's pretty tragic. Think about how the exact same word is being used to describe two completely contrasting realities, all depending purely on when you choose to act. Let's call them side A and side B. Side A is present action. This is you waking up at 5 a.m., putting in the hours, turning down those short-term temptations, and really sweating for a goal. It's an active, voluntary choice. You are totally in the driver's seat. But then there's side B, which is future loss. If you don't choose the pain of discipline today, well, the passage of time just automatically chooses for you. And the price? It becomes the very dream you refused to work for. Your ambition is literally what gets sacrificed on the altar of your present-day comfort. So, avoiding sacrifice today absolutely guarantees a much, much more painful sacrifice tomorrow. Now, to actually endure this present pain, the source text introduces a fascinating psychological mechanic. It argues, I think humans created God for a proxy for a better future. Now, regardless of whatever your personal beliefs are, just look at the raw psychology here. As human beings, we have a really, really hard time giving up today's comfort for some uncertain reward tomorrow. To bridge that massive psychological gap, we need something monumental. We literally need a concept vast enough to hold all of our deferred desires. Basically, we need a proxy. A stand-in, something to carry the incredibly heavy emotional weight of delaying our gratification. Think about it. When you're sitting at your desk late at night, or sweating it out in the gym, or saving that extra cash instead of spending it, that better future you're aiming for, it doesn't actually exist yet. It's just an idea floating around in your head, completely invisible. And because our human brains really struggle to trade real, tangible comfort for an invisible idea, we bring in a proxy. We use this ultimate, powerful concept to represent that better future, and that is what gives our current suffering a profound sense of meaning and direction. And this proxy functions specifically to supply two critical survival elements, faith and hope. Because let's be honest, when you're operating on side A of that equation, sacrificing for what you want, you are essentially working in the dark. You don't have the reward in your hands yet. So faith becomes the conviction that your present actions actually matter. And hope? Hope is the fuel. It's the energy that keeps you moving toward the finish line when you are just absolutely exhausted. Without these two elements, that psychological bridge completely collapses. And what happens? You fall right back into the cozy comfort of the present moment, inevitably sliding right over to side B, where your dreams actually become the sacrifice. But how does all this ethereal, philosophical belief actually translate into reality? Well, the text bluntly states, God helps hard workers. Boom. That completely grounds all those high-level musings. The author is making it crystal clear here that having faith and hope, it's not a substitute for action. They're the fuel for it. Your proxy doesn't just step in and do the hard work for you. Actually, scratch that. It's more like the universe, the future, or whatever proxy you're relying on only bends toward the people who are actively putting in the sweat equity. You have to marry that abstract hope for a better future to the gritty, physical reality of just being a hard worker. We can actually map out this temporal journey to see exactly how our actions travel through time. You start at point 1, which is today. This is the sacrifice phase. It's uncomfortable, it's hard, and yeah, it costs you something right now. But because you have point 2, that faith and hope acting as your psychological bridge, you're able to traverse the timeline all the way to point 3, the long run, the actual realization of that better future. If you try to fast forward and skip point 1, the entire timeline just shatters. The text leaves absolutely zero room for debate here. It is always, always a sacrifice of the present for a better tomorrow. It's basically an immutable law of cause and effect. So the author boils all of this down into a surprisingly simple 2-step survival mechanism for our dreams. Step 1, work hard for what you want to be. And notice it says what you want to be, not just what you want to get. It's really about identity and personal transformation, which, requires deep, sustained effort. Then, step 2, have in the long run.
The absolute magic and honestly, the incredible difficulty lies in that phrase long run. You have to be willing to stretch your timeline out. You have to hold on to that faith and hope far, far longer than the average person is ever willing to endure.
Which brings us right back to that opening paradox. But now it doesn't read like a clever riddle anymore, does it? Having walked through the absolute necessity of present pain, the creation of these psychological proxies, and the strict requirement of long-term hard work, this sentence acts as a pretty chilling warning. It's the ultimate summary of human agency. You're going to bleed for something in this life, for sure. The question is simply whether you'll bleed voluntarily to build your dream or bleed involuntarily as you helplessly watch your dream slip away into the abyss of missed opportunities. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to really ponder today. Which side of the sacrifice equation are you living on right now? Are you actively choosing the discomfort of discipline, of learning, and of hard work today? Or are you kind of taking the easy road, slowly ensuring that the person you desperately want to become is the thing that ultimately gets sacrificed? It is a stark, binary choice, and the clock is always, always ticking. The mechanics of sacrifice are constantly running in the background of your life. Make sure you are the one operating the machine and not the other way around.